most of 13. I know the battle system and everything, and I just wanted to basically try this one because I heard that they were changing things like in 13 in this game. So I just really want to see all the improvements and everything.
Okay, cool. And that certainly cuts out a lot of the excess backstory.
Yeah.
So, basically this takes place about 3 years after the events of 13. So Cocoon was saved, Sarah was saved, sorry, it's a spoiler, but she's obviously the protagonist.
Yeah.
So now, whenever they saved Cocoon, there was a resulting time paradox effect where lightning was pulled in and reality was altered to where people no longer believe that she's alive. But Sarah is not affected by the paradox, so she's the only one who knows lightning is alive. She just has to find her. And meanwhile, here comes this mysterious character, Noel, who knows lightning's alive, and I'm going to take you to her. So the two of them go off on an adventure to find her, and that's where we are. This is technically chapter 2. Okay. And they've arrived through a time gate to appear in this area called the Brescia Ruins, which Brescia was a location in Final Fantasy XIII. It was Lake Brescia, the crystallized lake in chapter 3, and then chapter 4 was the ruins area. Okay. So now this is the ruins, but it's been altered a little bit, of course, because it's 5 years later and because of the time paradox. So certain things are existing where they shouldn't, and certain things are just being altered altogether, but they're here to analyze exactly what's going on.
Okay, that's so what in the story this place happened, so they both know lightning's alive and they're both trying to get to her. Are they going to encounter anyone else from 13 like Snow and everybody else to try and get to her also?
Yes. Snow is actually out on his own mission to find lightning. He left before Sarah did. Even though he sees reality differently from how Sarah does, he has enough love for Sarah to believe her when she says she knows. So he decides on his own to go off and find her. Okay. So you will encounter Snow and in his mission. At the same time, Hope plays a major role in the game because now, years later, in his own part of the world, he is the director of this scientific organization called the Academy that's doing research on time paradoxes and ruins to see if he can't help lightning, as well as find a way to save Fenil and Fang and his mother.
Oh, so really good.
Now,
awesome.
Going into the actual battle, you'll be able to see that the ATB gauge and paradigm shift systems have returned, and they maintain similar functionality. One of the things that we're not showcasing in this demo, but does take place, is the ability to customize your paradigms. Aside from just picking the rules themselves, you can also choose whether you want to slate them as being a normal paradigm, a cross paradigm that focuses on individual enemies, or a wide paradigm that focuses on sweeping attacks to hit multiple enemies. We also have cinematic actions, quick time runs, to interact with the cutscenes within boss battles.
That's a really good element to add.
Yes, and they will never do what I call the Resident Evil 4 effect of you miss once and you're dead.
Yeah.
That will never happen. Most of the times it will only change whether you deal damage or miss an attack, whether you take damage or block it, or sometimes you'll get choices that'll change the cutscene that you see entirely. So you're about to get a couple more. Basically, anytime you see the word cinematic action in the corner,
basically it's like get ready.
Be prepared.
Like you see cinematic action, you're like get ready.
So you just succeeded, so now you've built some massive damage.
So does it matter if like it's going on a timer? Does it matter if like I hit it first and then I can just have the maximum effect, or it's like all just there? Like
it's all just you hit it or miss it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
You're in the back. It doesn't matter. You're touching or getting hit. If you shut off, you can now cancel that whole touchdown with a knife.
Successfully conquered.
The hand?
A hand, yeah. But the rest of him hasn't come through yet, but we'll get there.
We'll get to him.
Yeah.
We'll get to like some feet and like maybe like we'll find like a chin later on.
Yeah, a couple of vicious looking orange horns, some really bulgy looking other arms.
That might finish Chris.
Yeah. All in all, a real big brute.
And that's good stuff.
But in the meantime, we're still going to let the military come in and...
You know, once we've done all the work, they want to come in and say, you know, hey.
Not done yet, though. Tap quickly. Tap quickly. There you go.
Oh, so there's different kinds. Just like move this, smash, and different.
You'll have some that will require some analog. Some of them will require you hitting multiple buttons in a sequential order. Sometimes it's just rapid fire tapping. Sometimes it's just single press, but as quick as you possibly can because you only have 1 second to react.
So this is more like instead of sit down like Final Fantasy 13, this is more like get up and play. We're testing your reflex and everything else that happens to that.
At all points in time, you might be required to interact with the cutscene that you're looking at. So hold on to the controller, don't stray too far.
Yeah. I got a perfect score on my first battle against the hand.
You now collect Gil in battle again.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Gil. And I looted nothing? What's that cheap ass hand? What a cheap hand.
Just wait until you actually
just get into it, man.
Alright. So now this is basically giving you a little synopsis of what I've told you so far. You're going to go ahead and search the ruins. If I could go ahead and ask you to press the square button. When I take a look at the map, as you can see, we've definitely listened to the complaints about linearity within 13. So now we've addressed this in multiple ways. One of the evident being is the map area. We've got sprawling corridors going in multiple directions, encouraging people to explore as much as possible. Some areas like this hallway right here is locked off and inaccessible at this point in the game. However, you might find a key to it later and you have to come back to unlock, which of course will lead you to some rare items, another time gate, which will take you in a completely different direction in the game. And so there's always incentive to come back and keep exploring, check out the areas you've previously been to, because things may have changed.
So one of the other things that game has really complained about was the lack of like side quests and exploring. Like this takes exploring down.
Yes.
To come back and play. But what about like side quests and like exploring towns and stuff like that?
This area that you're currently standing in, it represents our town-like area, where if you go back into the regular game, you'll see people walking around with speech bubbles over their head. You can interact with those people, and they'll always have up to 4 different things to say every time you talk to them. Some of them will give you side quests, and they'll require you to do various things from hunting to treasure finding to helping out some of their coworkers, bringing them items. Sometimes they'll require you to just search the world you're currently in. Sometimes you might have to travel to a different world, complete the side quest, and come back to them to finish it.
So everything that we complained about is pretty much nothing else. Like,
it's been
taking care of everything, and that's a really great.
Now this is the battle entry system. Whereas 13, go ahead and good job. In 13, monsters populated the map, and that's how you engage with them. This time they spawn up in front of you, and you get that mod clock.
Very close.
And the moment the mod clock appears, the hands will move around, and depending on when you engage them, will determine whether you get preemptive strike, a normal battle, or if you enter a status detriment. Now, something interesting just happened here, in the sense that before this, you only had 2 members in your party, Noel and Sarah.
Yeah.
You just turned that monster and the other one, the Flan and the Behemoth, into these crystals. So now if you go to the spoil screen, you'll see that you've recruited them into your party.
I've got soldiers now!
Yeah, now your 3rd party member is going to be a monster.
So now it's more like Dragon Quest, where can you capture other monsters and put them on your team?
Yes. You'll have over, like, somewhere between 150 to 200 different monsters that you can recruit into your party, and they all have preordained paradigm roles. So some of them are going to be Ravagers, some are going to be Commandos, some are going to be Sentinels, Synergists, Saboteurs, Medics, and they'll all have varying stats as well as different varying conditions. So what you can do is you can level the monsters up, you can infuse monsters together to absorb powers. So if you have a Ravager that only casts fire, but you infuse them with a Ravager that casts water or thunder, they can take those powers and you can have a multi-skill.
So now we have a polymerization effect where you can now merge your monsters together and create new and better monsters for all the other roles. Are there going to be monsters that can like heal and do other stuff like that.
Yep.
And stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So basically, are there a lot of different combinations that you can make, or there's just like specific ones?
Well,
and the hand is back.
I'm sorry. Explain the question.
Is there a limit to what you can create, basically?
Oh, in terms of like infusing the monsters, you can infuse monsters continuously. It never really caps out, but eventually, like if a monster already shares skills with another one, then the infusion really won't do anything.
Oh, so it's not like if you combine two Thunders, you'll get Thundara. Or like two Thundara, you get
It doesn't
Thundaga.
quite function just like that.
Okay.
Those are more based on the actual leveling up of the monsters and the skills that they will develop in turn.
So what part am I getting up to now?
Now you're in the ruins. This is a time game. You can't really interact with it in the demo, but in the game, that's how you'll access the Historia Crux, and it'll open up new locations as well as new time periods of locations that you've already been to.
Okay,
So that's how you jump back and forth Chrono Trigger style.
That makes it easier than having to go back to like everything else, like stuff like that.
And now if you engage this monster real quick, I'll show you the actual monsters in effect. So right here you've got a Flambanero acting as a Ravager. And if you were to do a paradigm shift over to Cerberus, you would see your Behemoth acting as a Commando. And if you were to go to Solidarity, you would see your Scale Beast acting as a Sentry.
There's two.
And in the actual game, you'll have the ability to change which monsters you control. But for the purpose of the demo, we've limited it to 3.
Okay, that's amazing. So I'm just gonna ask. You're probably gonna say no, but I can't take control of the bosses, right? I can't tame the boss monsters.
Not particularly, but we did just announce that if you pre-order the game from Amazon, you'll get an Omega battle in the Coliseum, where if you defeat Omega, you'll be able to recruit him into your party, and he's quite the epic beast.
Quite the epic beast.
So pre-order from Amazon, and you can look forward to that. And actually, I'm going to ask you to go back this direction real quick, because I want to show you something that Mog just discovered. You follow that little white dot over there. That's Mog. And he's freaking out. His bottle's going crazy because he just discovered this item chest. But you can't interact with it because it doesn't, due to the paradox, it's not there.
There we go.
So hit the R1 button.
Here comes the rocket. Oh, no
It'll be the
rocket.
right bumper on the 360. Mog will cast his magic
Close it out.
and pull the item in.
Very nice, very nice. I hope I get to see a bit of that video.
I obtained a wild architect.
You've been the first
So
you
now,
guys in their boxes playing it.
and the artifacts are how you interact with the various.
So the Moogle's gonna be with me the entire journey of the way. He's gonna help me discover things and do a lot of other things like
Yes, yeah. And he also acts as Sarah's weapon, so he'll transform into the bow or the sword, depending on which is needed. And so now, go ahead and engage in another battle, because I'll show you something else about the monsters. Underneath every monster name, you'll see this Para-Link gauge. And right now it says synchronized because it's fully charged. So you've got this button prompt here. Press that, you'll get various quick time events. Then when you hold off in correct succession, you'll unleash your monster's special attack. Every monster has their own special attack, and each one will require different quick time events. Sometimes it helps to know what your monsters do, because in this case he's a damage dealer, but sometimes it might be casting status buffs on your team, sometimes it might cast status detriments if they're a saboteur, and all in all, it just requires greater strategy to know before you go into the more important battles.
So would you say that you should keep track of your people or the beasts that you get?
Oh, absolutely, all of them. Yeah, like it's important to know your animals, to know which ones are going to be powerful in what situations, like which ones have which spells, as well as which ones, some of them will cap out at level 20, even if they're the most powerful monster in your possession, while another one that's pretty weak can grow to level 70 and will eventually become more powerful than the previous monster. So there's various statistics that you'll have to keep in mind when you're tending to your monsters.
So basically it's added more hours to the gameplay because now you want us to level up our people as well as the monsters in the game. So is there like random battles, like other fighter that you can walk around and you can like grind on the RPG like that?
Absolutely. If you were to run back and forth on this map right here, you'd have various spawning attacks to continually level up.
Okay, so that's really good.
You can build up the CP, you can grow your characters,
I think you might run out before we get to level 3.
eventually build your dream team to take out some of the harder bosses?
Well, my dream team, I would probably have like maybe like Sephiroth, or maybe I would throw in Renault in there, but that's definitely a dream to be had, right?
That's indeed a dream team. Actually, I am going to ask you to turn. You can fight me if you want, but
yeah.
I'm going to ask you to run it back the other direction. There'll be a few other cool features that I can show you. This way is just a bit more of the exploration of the map, but there's nothing really new there that you haven't seen.
Yeah.
So, in the meantime, I will talk about, we can talk about the Historia Crux a little more, just because it's not present in the demo, but it's definitely noteworthy. It's definitely the biggest new feature in the game.
Okay.
So that's the one that allows you to time travel and to jump from different worlds and different time periods. Part of the fun of the Historia Crux is the ability to close gates. So, once you've opened up a new world, you've gone through it, you've completed it, you can, at a later point in the game, come back, close the gate, and you can go through it as if you had never gone through it again. So you can make different decisions, see different cutscenes, encounter bosses differently, and that'll actually play into the example of one of the things we're about to see right here.
So when I go back to the world like I've never been there before, would the items be regenerated, or was the item
This way, I'm sorry. Actually, that's a good question. All of your levels and your stats and key items that you've collected throughout the world will all stay the same. So you don't have to worry about downgrading back to the previous levels. And in fact, the importance of that will actually come in with this guy serves as a great example.
Can I capture him?
No, he is not capturable. Not all monsters are capturable, and most bosses are not.
4 days, there's the big barrier.
So now, here you're about to introduce one of the more important elements of choice. At the same time that Atlas finally came through the full paradox, this machine just discovered. So there's probably a connection between the two, at least that's what Nolan and Sarah are talking about right now. So you're about to see the first element of choice that we've really implemented in full throughout different periods of the game, in the form of the live trigger conversation. You'll ask a question, you choose how you want to respond. So sometimes it'll change the event of the cutscene that you're watching. Sometimes it'll give you different background information depending on how you respond. Okay. Sometimes it'll just be for the sake of humor.
Okay, so with other choice-oriented games like Dragon Age and Mass Effect, is this going to be like choice-oriented, where if you make one mistake, then like someone will die, or like someone will like will it change the entire fabric of the game?
The live trigger will never be that game-changing. It'll merely change certain aesthetics of the game.
Okay.
So there will be incentive for people to want to go back and change their response just to see the difference, or sometimes see the cutscene play out a little differently. But it won't ever kill a character. It won't ever divert you on a complete path that you can't ever go back and change.
Okay.
Especially because of that gate closing thing. If you play out a scene differently from how you intended it, you can always beat the world, go back, close the gate, and then go right back into it and play it the way you wanted to play it the first time.
All right, so that's what the purpose of it is now. So I made a mistake and I didn't, make the right choice. So now I can go back like I never did it, and then make the right choice again.
Yes, exactly. And so now we have the other element of choice. Go ahead and hit the square button again. So now you see you've got multiple objectives. Basically, the machine that shows up has a way of crippling Atlas and making it a weaker battle. And for the purpose of the demo, you can choose to go fight him head on, but you're not strong enough. He's going to pound you one punch and you're dead. So you're going to want to go pursue the other objective, which is to control the machine, to cripple him, and make it easier battle.
All right.
Also, though, due to the Historia Crux and the ability to close gates, at a later point in the game, if you've got stronger characters that are capable of defeating big bosses like you can come back, close the gate, run forward, fight him head on, and you'll see a completely different thing than as if you had gone about it the first way.
That's a really good interrelation to put with all kinds of games of this. Now it just makes it seem like, now because I'm an RPG gamer, I love revenge against characters that defeated me. So I would just love to go back and beat them like that. But would it be more possible to just basically, because I could literally stay on this grind for hours and days and days and days. Would I be recommending to do that and then maybe turn on and make a different cutscene then, or would I just?
That's entirely entirely up to you and how you like to play. If you want to grind repeatedly over and over until you're eventually strong enough to take him out, you can do that. But I like to recommend, because the Historia Crux is open to so many gate closings and going back and doing things differently, you might as well just proceed through the game, gain some of the natural levels, experience the game, just a natural playthrough, and then later go back and play. We've also implemented New Game Plus though, so you'll have the ability to start a completely brand new campaign with your previous character set.
Okay, so another question is, later on in the game, or in New Game Plus, will we be able to pick other characters? Like, basically, I'm trying to ask if Lightning's going to be playable in the game at some point, or in New Game Plus, will we be able to pick her to be on our team?
I can say Lightning makes her appearance in the game, and she is playable in certain areas, but it really truly is Noel and Sarah's story. So they will always be the ones that you're really carrying with you through the meat of the game.
Alright, so it's like not like their story, adding Lightning, and then you forget all about them. It's like we see Lightning for a bit, and then she goes on her way, and then you continue on your way.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to go the other way.
Yes, you can run up around that staircase there. That'll take you where you need to be. And then also, one influence that was taken from Chrono Trigger when building this game was that there are multiple endings.
Alternate endings.
Now, there is of course, a true ending by going at the campaign just in a natural playthrough. But depending on which choices you make, which bosses you defeat, at what point in time, you might see something completely different.
That's wow. So go into detail about exactly what the ending actually like. When I get an ending, it's like basically could I make good and bad choice? When I get a bad ending, like I made all the bad choices, could a good ending where I made all the other endings like that?
Certain endings do carry different tonal changes and different results. The reason I liken it to Chrono Trigger is because our producer and our director made the exact same and people that were familiar with some of the choices of Chrono Trigger, they got to see different little like joke endings, some kind of carrying a darker tone, some carrying just completely lighthearted, and that'll be roughly about the same as what we see there.
I got a 1.
Where are you at?
Wait, what can't you do?